Ah, Britain. You either love this country or you despise this country. On the one hand, it gave us punk rock, sweet tea, and inadvertently, the United States. But on the other hand, it gave us Margaret Thatcher, Zionism, and inadvertently, the United States. Like I said, you either love Britain or you hate Britain. There is not a single soul out there who thinks Britain is just okay. And a lot of that comes from its history. There was a time where Britain ruled the fucking world. It was the one nation Napoleon of all people couldn't defeat. Well, them and Spain, but that goes beyond my point, so shut up. But it all came crashing down following World War II, when those damn Egyptians said, hey, we built the Suez Canal, we should be the ones making money off of it. And so Britain said, colored people in Africa are rising up against us? That's communist! So what did they do? They straight up tried to invade with the help of France and Israel, only for America to come in and say, hey, stop that. And the Soviet Union to say, hey, stop that. And that was when Britain knew they were washed. Realizing they were no longer the strongest power in the world, they decided, well, if we can't rule the world, then let's just make cute claymations about this funny little inventor and his dog. There's no exaggeration here. That's just British history. And nothing else of importance happened since. At least for Britain. I won't hear any arguments. Wallace and Gromit. You know these names. These two are to Britain what the Simpsons are to Americans. They love these two over there, and it's not hard to see why. Since the very first short came out back in 1989, these movies have gotten non-stop critical acclaim and praise. Every single Wallace and Gromit movie has either received or at least been nominated for an Academy Award. A Grand Day Out? Nominated. The Wrong Trousers won Best Short Animated Film. A Close Shave did it again. A Matter of Loaf and Death, love that title by the way, nominated but won a BAFTA and an Annie Award in exchange. It's really hard to think of a franchise quite like Wallace and Gromit where everything that comes from it is just pure gold every time. Not a single bad apple anywhere. Even the Kung Fu Panda franchise had Kung Fu Panda 4. Sorry, is that too soon? Because I don't care if it is. The popularity was so maddening that after 3 critically acclaimed short films, Wallace and Gromit finally got a feature-length film, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and it was made by both Aardman and DreamWorks Animation, which wasn't the first time these two came together for a film like this. They made Chicken Run back in 2000, which was also critically acclaimed, and they would even come back together for Flushed Away. Does anyone remember Flushed Away? I'm sure the comments will let me know. Whatever. My point is, unlike Aardman with Wallace and Gromit, who remained consistently good throughout the years, DreamWorks, on the other hand, was more spotty. They released Shark Tale just the year before.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
But to be fair, they did make Chicken Run together, so as long as the CEO of DreamWorks isn't some tight-nick asshole, we should be okay, god damn it. Jeffrey Katzenberg. Do I even need to? You know, right? You fucking know! Look, to give him the slightest amount of credit, he's not the literal worst CEO Hollywood has ever known. Like, he's no Harvey Weinstein or anything. He's just another pompous dick who thinks he knows better than everyone else. And while doing research for this movie, I found that he tried to insert his typical stink in this movie, and it shows. Like, fun fact, did you know that he tried to have Peter Sallis, the original voice of Wallace, replaced with some big-name actor? Yeah, it's exactly the same thing that he tried to do to Bill Farmer on a Goofy movie, where he wanted to replace him with Steve Martin instead. Oh, and Steve Martin wouldn't do the Goofy voice, he'd just use his normal voice so that people would know who he is. Are you fucking serious? Thank God there was pushback and he realized his mistake before it was too late. Or did he realize his mistake? Because it seems like the lesson he learned wasn't maybe let the talented voice actor who's been doing the voice for years do their thing, and more like, well, that would have sucked with Goofy, but here it'll work just fine, right? Yeah, like a troll in Central Park hanging out with little kids, it'd work great. Aardman challenged Jeffrey directly over this, insisting that Peter stay in the role. But eventually, they did come to a compromise with Helena Bonham Carter and Ralph Fiennes playing the love interest and main villain, respectively. This was a whole thing with the production of this movie, with the British Aardman constantly having to please the American DreamWorks. What works with one audience might not work to appeal to the other, so it was a constant back and forth of compromises. Like, did you know that DreamWorks wanted to replace the car that Wallace and Gromit drive drive in the movie was something more sporty. Can you guys imagine Wallace and Gromit driving a Lamborghini or something? It'd just be weird, right? The whole 1950s aesthetic is part of the charm of Wallace and Gromit. It's why people love the franchise, and you can tell it really got on Nick Park's nerves having to do all of this. Apparently at one point, he was told that all the voice actors had to redo some of their lines because they were too British sounding. Oh gee, it's almost like Wallace and Gromit are fucking British! Even the name of the film was changed to try and appeal more to an American audience. It was originally going to be called The Great Vegetable Plot, but was then changed to Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Though, I won't lie, I do feel like that change was for the better. The Great Vegetable Plot does sound a little too vague, while The Curse of the Were-Rabbit does work to explain the plot of the film better. Regardless of that though, Nick would describe his experience working with DreamWorks as frustrating, and this would eventually be the reason why DreamWorks would stop working with Aardman altogether following Flushed Away's release. While making his next Wallace and Gromit film, Nick would actually say this about the film. I don't feel like I'm making a film for a kid in some suburb in America and being told they're not going to understand the joke or a northern saying. Now, with all that being said, the film didn't do super well in America, admittedly. It only made about $56 million while making $192 million around the world. Though, for a $30 million budget, I'd say that's actually pretty good in the end. And the film still won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. In 2005, that was a big deal that a Pixar film didn't win. So, in the end, my point is, Jeffrey can eat a brick. Yeah, so the movie's great. It's also one of the horniest kids films I've ever seen. When I was watching this, I kind of figured it would have a PG rating, but I looked it up and you wouldn't believe it, it's G-rated. Like, what? This film is G-rated with stuff like this in there?
Mr. Wallace.
Oh, Totty.
Totty?
Jesus, this film is so horny.
If you ask me, this was arson.
Arson?
Aye, someone arsing around.
Was that a swear? They said a swear! Or close enough. They managed to sneak in a swear word in this G-rated movie? Oh, that is so goated, I love it. What makes this movie so much fun is just the visual language of it. It's a good testament as to why claymation is, perhaps, the most timeless way to animate a movie. I'm guessing it's Aardman in general, but Wallace and Gromit just has this unique, timeless style that people can recognize right away. And I also feel like they work best in claymation. Whenever I watched Flushed Away, which was 3D animated but stylized to look like Aardman's style, it just never sat right with me. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't the same, you know? Movements were too smooth, things just looked a bit too clean for my liking. Which I know is ironic considering that film takes place in a sewer. No, what gives Wallace and Gromit its charm is the fact that it looks a bit cheap and rough. The original Wallace and Gromit short was made on a very tiny budget of £11,000, which, for the time period, translates to about $3,600. It really was just these humble filmmakers making a cute, simple story about this inventor and his dog, and the filmmakers worked to let the animation be part of the story. So many great little details and visual gags litter the film, and it makes rewatching it always a delight. You never know what you missed on your first viewing, like how Toddy has band-aids on her hair after a pitchfork went through them. Like, oh, why would she put those on there? Where was she keeping those band-aids? Don't you have more important things to worry about? It doesn't matter. It's funny. I've noticed this film has had a bit of a resurgency lately thanks to the bullet scene, which is a good bit, but honestly, I think it's one of the weaker moments, honestly. The timing is just slightly off for me, so it doesn't get me the same way it does for others.
A bullet? Oh! What kind of bullet?
Like, yeah, didn't that just feel a bit slow to y'all? Compared to this part, which I thought was way funnier. I'm sorry, but that's way funnier than the gun scene. It may be a little immature, but this movie pulled it off so well. There's not too many jokes like that in this movie. Sure, a burp here and there, and one joke about the villain's butt being exposed, but they're very few and can still be really funny anyway based on how they're executed. It's hard to think of any joke that doesn't land in this movie. Again, arson around. I'm not even a dad, but damn, that is funny.
Unlike Victor, he's never shown any interest in my produce.
Oh, his loss, Lady Tottington.
Again, how is this movie G-rated? So remember earlier when I brought up the film's visual language? How a film presents itself visually can really help it stand out amongst its contemporaries. And Wallace and Gromit stands out so well, mainly because it's never trying to do too much. For all of Wallace and Gromit's antics, their stories are usually pretty low risk. One short is about them going to the moon to look for cheese. One short is about Wallace building a pair of robot pants that he can't take off. One short is about a dog rustling up a herd of his owner's sheep so that he can eat them. The movie is the same way. It's a very simple and low risk story. The world isn't in danger from the were-rabbit, it's just a local vegetable competition. Yet what makes it all work is that the characters within the movie react like the world is ending. A were-rabbit is the literal worst thing that could happen to these people, because to them, this vegetable competition is all they have in their miserable lives. Watching in horror as the were-rabbit devastates their gardens. I mean, look at that one man's wife's brassicas. Ravaged in the night. This movie is so good, you guys, oh my god. It's that kind of simplicity and self-awareness that has really solidified Wallace and Gromit in the minds of people. They're such simple characters, but by god are they charming. Gromit doesn't even speak, yet he's able to convey so much information just through his body language. You can just tell he's the real genius of the team by the way he acts. That's not to say Wallace is stupid. He's not. He's just really goofy. Instead of trying to cure cancer or whatever, he's simply just trying to make every day a little bit easier, even when he doesn't need to. Wallace and Gromit are a bit like Barbie in that respect, in that they're such simple characters, you can put them into any scenario and it wouldn't feel out of place. You want them to be astronauts and fly to the moon? Okay. You want them to be humble inventors? Why not? You want them to be pest control? Literally, what's stopping them? What is in their character that would prevent them from being those things? Answer? Nothing. Because they are so simple in their personalities that so long as they're not flat out committing war crimes or anything, you're good. It's that kind of simplicity that's why these characters have worked out so well for so long. Like I said earlier, it's really hard to think of a franchise like Wallace and Gromit. It really is one of a kind. I know this segment is more about Wallace and Gromit in general rather than how they're depicted in the movie, but that's the thing. That is how they are in the movie. They're just like how I described. They're funny, charming, likable. They're Wallace and Gromit. How can you go wrong? The new characters are also really fun. So many little quirks that help them all stand out. Like I love how Toddy always wears clothes based on plants or vegetables. Seriously, go back and look. Everything this character wears is either a flower or a vegetable of some kind. The villain is also great. Victor Quartermain. Love the name. Love Ralph Fiennes' performance as him. I just love everything about him. I just love how petty and spiteful he can be. Like when he finds out that Wallace is the were-rabbit, he wastes no time in realizing that he gets to kill his rival and he loves it. But I also love how childish he can be. I love the part where he wastes one of the 3 golden bullets trying to calm everyone down. That's hilarious. And I especially love, if I can't have your money, I can still bag your bunny! The greatest line any villain has ever said ever. I won't listen to arguments. I also love the little detail with the pansy spray. Oh, I just love it! Like, no notes required. I love the little details in this movie. Like, look at that one. Bean Martin. Oh, that's just cute. That's just so... No. They didn't. They managed to sneak the word shit in this G-rated film? That settles it. This is the greatest film of all time, and there will be no negotiating with me. I mean, does anyone want to negotiate with me? Anyone who's gonna say anything? Oh, come on, there's gotta be some poor miserable soul out there that doesn't like this movie, or at the very least just finds it okay. I mean, there are poor saps out there who actually defend the live-action Lilo and Stitch, for crying out loud. I mean, if they exist, no? We're actually all in agreement here. Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit is amazing, and we all know it?
Yes!
See guys, this is how world peace is accomplished. We all just have to watch the Wallace and Gromit movies. Followed by Neja 2. I mean, that's part of the commitment. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. Seriously, what more do you want me to say about it? Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit is amazing. It's hilarious, it's charming, it's full of heart, it's beautifully animated, the attention to detail is phenomenal, it's a G-rated movie, here in America anyway, that has tons of swear words and sex jokes. Guys, it's peak. It might just be one of those extremely rare 10 out of 10 movies. There is not a flaw in sight anywhere. Virtually every joke lands, nothing feels too bloated or rushed through, nobody is unlikable or annoying, it's just that good.
What's up, dog?
I love you. I want to take you away from all of this.
If you pointed a gun at my head and told me to find something wrong with this movie, I would say shoot. And I feel like I'm not the only person that would say that. So grab yourself a plate of cheese and crackers, and maybe revisit this cheeky masterpiece for your special treat this Halloween.
Oh,